Congo, the cursed treasure, wealth, war, and Western interests. Congo, a land of unimaginable wealth, but also of endless suffering. As we speak, war rages in the east. The M23 rebel group, allegedly backed by Rwanda, fights the Congolese army. Millions are displaced, thousands killed. But why? Why does this nation, blessed with gold, diamonds, cobalt, and coltan, remain a battlefield? To understand, we must go deeper, to the roots of the conflict, to the hands that control this land, and to those who have chosen to ignore its cries.
We are all very, very concerned about an open regional war over Eastern DRC.
On Africa, the European Union closely follows the crisis in eastern Congo. Ministers urge Rwanda to halt its support for rebels and withdraw its troops. Attacks on UN peacekeepers are unacceptable.
I want to hear from Ms. President if you have any plan in the future to bring peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
You're asking me a question about Rwanda, and it is a very serious problem. I agree, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it, but it is a very serious problem.
To truly grasp what's happening today, we must first understand what Congo was meant to be. Imagine a Congo at peace, a country that fully controls its resources, a nation where leaders are accountable, where people unite for progress instead of war. Such a Congo would rival the richest nations on earth. Its GDP would surpass South Africa, Nigeria, and even Western economies dependent on its minerals. But this is not the reality. Instead, Congo remains trapped in a cycle of war, corruption, and foreign exploitation. The West thrives while Congo bleeds. Africa's poverty is the foundation of Western prosperity. A self-sufficient Congo would mean an Africa that no longer depends on the IMF, the World Bank, or foreign aid. And that is a reality that powerful nations cannot allow. The treasure within, Congo's natural wealth. Congo is not just rich. It is the richest nation on Earth in terms of natural resources. Beneath its soil lies the world's largest reserves of cobalt, essential for electric car batteries. It has coltan, a crucial component for smartphones. Gold, diamonds, uranium, copper, it's all here. Yet, the Congolese people remain among the poorest on earth. How is this possible? Because these riches are not controlled by the people. They are controlled by foreign corporations, corrupt officials, and armed rebels who sell Congo's wealth to the highest bidder. War, rebels, and the foreign hand. For decades, Congo has been at war with itself. But who really benefits? There are over 120 armed groups in the country today, many of them fighting not for freedom, but for control of minds. The M23, allegedly backed by Rwanda, fights for dominance in North Kivu. The ADF, linked to ISIS, spreads terror in the east. Meanwhile, multinational corporations make deals with corrupt Congolese elites, ensuring that Congo's resources never serve its people.
coverage of cobalt mining in particular is a sensitive issue for a variety of reasons. Obviously, mining in the DRC represents a large share of domestic revenue and of the Congolese economy. There are a fringe of pretty influential Congolese politicians and military elites who have personal stakes in the industry. I also think that the nature of mining and how mining concessions are structured makes it difficult to access and to report.
Western companies will never allow Congo to stabilize. War creates cheap labor, weak institutions, and an endless supply of resources under no regulation. A former Congolese minister even said, "Even our own leaders are complicit. They sign contracts that enrich themselves while selling the nation's future."
Mr. Commissioner Designate, hello. I will express myself in French. You told us earlier that you do not want to subscribe to the Chinese model of partnership which leads to violations of fundamental rights. Mr. Commissioner, I agree with this principle. But in practice, the Commission has made an agreement with Rwanda to provide us with materials that Rwanda does not have. As a result, the Rwandan army goes to the DRC to fetch these materials, these raw materials. The cost of this, Mr. Commissioner, is human rights violations. The cost of this is war crimes committed by the Rwandan army. The cost of this is child soldiers being used. Mr. Commissioner, are we finally going to connect values to practices? Are you going to stop this agreement with Rwanda? Are you going to seek another type of agreement with Rwanda? Are you finally going to recognize that the cost of our strategic autonomy cannot be the violation of human rights, cannot be complicity in war crimes?
Honourable member, thank you for your question. However, the pieces of information I have available are basically saying something different. Rwanda is one of our most prominent partners in Africa. We are developing here a lot of successful projects. If there is a case of the violation of human rights or other things, I will have a look on it and I will respond back to you. But basically, this is my level of information is not as dramatic as you told me now. So I'm not able to react immediately because basically when it comes to projects in Rwanda, I think this is one of the good cooperations we have in Africa.
I need someone to explain something to me. So Rwanda is invading Congo, and we, as the European Union, we are still sending weapons to Rwanda. Rwanda is stealing Congolese resources, and we are going to make an agreement with Rwanda to buy these raw materials that have been stolen from the Congolese. Because that is what is happening. The European Commission made this agreement with Rwanda, and what happened? 2 months later, the M23, a rebel movement supported by Rwanda, conquered the most important coltan mine in Congo to smuggle and steal these resources and put them on international markets. So in fact, the European Commission has, in a way, given its green light to the Rwandans to invade Congo. Europe finds itself, in other words, on the side of the aggressor. And all this, for the profits of multinationals at the expense of the Congolese people. In the meantime we witness looting, destruction, millions of deaths. It must stop. Because we have seen it with gold in Mali, we have seen it in Niger with uranium, we have seen it in Libya with gas and oil. It is always the same song of plunder. Then you wonder why the people of the south are revolting. Africans are fed up. We see it in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Chad, Ivory Coast, Central African Republic, Senegal. Each time, Europeans are being shown the door. So the time is now to say enough, the time of colonialism is over. Suspend this agreement for the plunder of Congolese natural resources and impose a military embargo on the Rwandans. We do not need crocodiles' tears, we need action.
Africa doesn't own their own wealth. It's their wealth, but they don't own it. Western companies own the mines in Africa. They extract the minerals. They set the prices. They ensure that the wealth will never benefit the people whose wealth it truly is. I mean, look at Congo today. Congo produces 70% of the world's cobalt. That's the mineral that powers your smartphone, your laptop, your electric car. Without Congolese minerals, there's no Tesla, there's no Apple, there's no Samsung. Yet the people of Congo remain among the poorest people in the world. Why? Because their wealth is not theirs. It's stolen by Western corporations, by Western companies. The system is kept in place through war. The West doesn't want a stable and independent Congo. That's why they fund proxy wars, why they support rebel groups like M23. They use other African governments like Rwanda and Uganda to do their bidding, to keep Congo weak so that the wealth remains available for plunder. Wallahi, this is a grotesque injustice. It's a grotesque injustice that disgraces the whole world. Congo is a bleeding, open, gaping wound on this earth. Understand this, Africa will never be free until Congo is free. No matter how well any individual African country does, the continent as a whole will remain wounded, mortally wounded.
We spoke to over 130 people, met with company officials. What we found is that the communities that really live on or around mineral-rich land are really not the beneficiaries of that activity. Worse, many of them have to live their homes and their farmland forcibly without minimum, safeguards. One of the cases we looked into, the community explained to us that in 2016, their informal settlement was completely erased from the map with the participation of the Congolese military that destroyed their informal settlements, and we were able to corroborate that information through the review of satellite imagery.
The largest cobalt mining concession in the southeastern Congo is the size of London. So you have to imagine a London-sized concession multiplied several times over that's been ripped apart, and all the people who used to live in that concession displaced, pushed to the fringes of existence. Now there's no way for them to survive except to scrounge back into that territory where they used to live and try to fill a sack of cobalt for the day.
The people and their blindness. But here's the harsh truth. Congo's crisis is not just caused by outsiders. Congolese themselves have turned their backs on their own country. While war rages in the east, life in Kinshasa continues as if nothing is happening. The youth are more concerned with music, dance, and fashion than with the future of their country. The culture is dominated by entertainment and consumerism. The sapeurs, for example, wear thousands of dollars worth of designer clothing while millions live in poverty.
Avec toi je suis different. I feel so good when I can see you wonder your body on me. On va pas s'effronter, y a rien à inventer. Ensemble on va brûler les billets. Arrêtez les temps avec la monnaie. Hello mademoiselle, ensemble ce soir on va picoler. Hello mademoiselle, ensemble ce soir on va rigoler. Chérie, chérie oh yeah, baby yeah, on va se gâter. Baby baby, sans compter, on va gaspiller money. Baby baby, toi et moi, on va gaspiller money. Hello my friend, don't worry, if in the pocket no money, please don't try call somebody. If in the pocket no money, tu veux choper le demoiselle, mon ami prépare la monnaie. Tu veux sauter sur la plus belle, on va se tout porter monnaie. Hello mademoiselle, ensemble ce soir on va picoler. Hello mademoiselle, ensemble ce soir on va rigoler. Chérie, chérie oh yeah, baby yeah, on va se gâter.
Religion is everywhere, but real action is missing. Hatred among Congolese is common, poisoning each other over minor disputes while the country collapses. A Congolese activist said, "We have been mentally colonized. Instead of fighting for our land, we fight over who has the best clothes, the best music, or the best church."
They tried to get me to join their network. I refused. I am not here to join the mafia. They wanted me to live in Gombe like them. I refused. Have you seen me change vehicles since I became a minister? The situation is serious. Things must change.
The Yanni family is still mourning its great figure. Raphael Yanni was someone important at the heart of the news. He was the judge in charge of the 100 Days trial. A large-scale corruption case involving prominent politicians, notably Vital Kamerhe. The media and the family mentioned the judge's death as a result of poisoning. His relatives are now awaiting the results of the investigation.
At the hearing, he left on Monday in perfect health. Moreover, he is a strong man. On Tuesday, he went to the office. On returning from the office, he told his wife that he felt unwell and wanted to rest.
On the night of May 27th, he passed away.
I went to the Democratic Republic of the Congo to visit. I got sick. After becoming seriously ill, going to the hospital and undergoing the necessary tests, the doctor requested that I take a poisoning test. Test for poison. For those who do not know, I think it is important to elaborate. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, people are being poisoned. We don't like what you do in life. We don't like your job. We don't like how you carry yourself. We don't like the beautiful direction in which your life is going. We don't like the power you gain in politics, or in Christian music, in churches. People are being poisoned. For those who know the great Alain Moloto, an excellent Christian singer, I think you know him in Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Gabon, and elsewhere. He has been executed through these means. We must tell the truth to the people. I went to the hospital to get examined, and I was asked to see a poison specialist. In the city where I was, there are countless detox clinics for poison. I repeat, countless detox clinics for poison.
The future. What could Congo be? But what if Congo woke up? What if the people stood together and reclaimed their land?
Toujours RDC, RDC. Restez vigilants. Vigilance, c'est une attention vive. Comme on dit à Lingala, liso likoloya, liso.
We have given them 2 weeks. 2 weeks only. If they don't respond to our 5 demands, we will not be responsible of whatever will happen to the Rwandese embassy. They need to stop what they've been doing for 30 years. We have lost women and children, and because of European Union, that were Rwanda's bullying Africa, bullying my country to steal our mineral resources. Enough is enough. Our memorandum today, we've given the European Union 2 weeks. If we don't get any response within 2 weeks, whatever will happen will not be responsible.
Before we get into that, just again highlight some of the 5 demands that are in your memorandum.
Our 5 demands, first of all, they need immediately to stop funding the Rwandese army. Secondly, they need to stop supporting Rwanda. And they must not stop being complicity without saying anything. They just condemn without any sanction. We need serious sanction over Rwanda, and they must give Kagame ultimatum. Within 2 weeks, we don't want to see any Rwandese soldiers in our soil. And I'm talking to this, I'm sending this message. Our community, as you can see, the blood is burning. If our memorandum is not responded within 2 weeks, whatever will happen in South Africa, we will not be responsible.
When you say you will not be responsible for what will happen, what does that contain? What are you going to do?
If you can see our people, they are ready to go burn.
Congo has everything it needs to be a global superpower. If managed well, its resources could fund free education, world-class healthcare, and massive infrastructure projects. But this requires vision, unity, and the will to break free from foreign control. Every African leader who has tried to make Africa independent has been removed, assassinated, overthrown, or silenced. Lumumba was killed. Sankara was murdered. Gaddafi was bombed. Because a strong Africa is a threat to the global order.
The most dangerous situation is in Africa, because of course Africa is absolutely the most important continent on the planet. The most important continent to the planet. And the next most important, and therefore the next most at-risk region, is the Middle East. The Middle East and Africa power the whole global economy. They power everything that makes so-called modern life possible. It's all made possible by the Middle East and Africa. And if the West was an actually civilized civilization, that would mean that peace and stability in the Middle East and in Africa should be of paramount importance. Good relations and harmonious dealings and so on, that would be the priority if they were civilized people. But of course the West is not civilized. And if you have something that they need, if you have something that they want, then they do not see you as a friend. They don't see you as a friend that they want to be close to and have good relations with. They see you as an enemy that they want to subjugate. They see the world in a predator-prey paradigm.
The choice is ours. Will Congo remain a land of endless war and corruption? Or will it rise and take its place as Africa's powerhouse?
Because each time we consume, we are contributing to those demand-side forces that have unleashed this violence on the people of the Congo. All of us are participating in this, unwittingly. When you bought your smartphone, or I bought mine, or anyone listening to this conversation bought their smartphone, or their laptop, or their electric vehicle, we didn't think to ourselves, aha, now when I plug in today, some child in the Congo is going to die. But that's the relationship that's been forced on us by tech companies, because these companies have not seen fit to take responsibility for the people in the heart of Africa and treat them with respect and dignity. And we should be upset about that.
The time for dreaming is over. The time for action is now. Congo's future is still unwritten. But who will write it?